Timer's on.
Timer's on. Okay. Thank you. Hey everyone, it's Ann Samoilov here with my dear friend Hillary Rubin, and I am so excited because we are finally doing this update, the Where Are They Now? This is like behind the music on VH1, and now we're like, where are they now? But this is not a sad story where you're like, oh, turn it off. This is like really good stuff. Hillary's had I feel like a really great year so far, and made some huge strides in her business and has some launch goodies to share with us. Before we get into that, thank you.
No, thank you. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be here. Really, I mean, I would be here, but
you would be here,
but I wouldn't be where I am with my business and understanding the launch process and having a better relationship with it.
Woohoo!
Way! So a little bit over a year ago, I was noticing in a Facebook group that I'm part of, a very big community, all of these women interested in coaching and talking about coaching training programs and certification and not certification and what do I do? You know, is that big, what do I do? I want this, and what's the right thing? And I had this hit that I could help them. And I went in and I did a call and was like, I'll do this call for you and help you and answer your questions and let me be a resource, because I've been coaching for a few years and was not certified. I was a yoga teacher and many other careers before I had. And so I just went in, and I remember talking to you and saying, I'm going to go post this. And it was just like bees to honey. I was blown away because it was a gut feeling. It wasn't something that I ever had on a vision board or wrote somewhere. It was just, here's a problem. I can help them. Let's see. And I was pretty blown away and afraid. I'll be quite honest. I was going, I don't even know how I'm going to help them. And I moved forward and did that. And then as things moved along and the list grew, which was cool, and I was doing a good service, I wanted to move forward with figuring it out. I had no idea how I was going to teach this, what I was going to do. I didn't even really understand how I did it. So I was at different events, and basically, to condense it, I had somebody interview me to ask me how I did it so they could actually extract and create an outline, because they had that more left brain power of organizing and seeing it, because I was in it, so I couldn't really see it. And then from there, I got advice from Corbett Barr. I remember being with you at WDS, and Corbett's like, just do a beta. And I was like, just do a beta? He's like, just do it. And so I had some calls and interviewed some people that were interested from that list, and that I knew that would be a good fit because they were in different places in their lives. And I did those interviews, and they all were like, yes, I would love to do something like this. So I did a beta, and I did a paid beta. And it was 6 weeks. I had no content. I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't have a sales page. It was via email. We filled it with 12 people, 12 awesome women. And I just created it as I went. And I was like, what do they need? What do I have to do? Things were out of order. I didn't know. I just needed to meet it.
Right.
And I did it very basic.
Right.
So
let me just stop you then, because like what I think is really cool is that what you did isn't like, it's not like rocket science, and that's the great part is that anybody, like I think I remember, and correct me if I'm wrong, but many of those people, there might have been some crossover with people who were already on your list, but you essentially went into a Facebook community that you were a part of and an active member, and simply started asking questions, seeing what there was, seeing that there was a need, asking questions, realized that what your experience, how that matched up. And then that turned into you. Then I love that you like had someone interview you to take out those main points. I think that's amazing, and so easy almost, because it's easier when someone's asking you,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, and I didn't think of that. Joe Polish talked about that at an event that I went to that he had a mastermind, and he said Fabienne Fredrickson interviewed him about something because he
Interesting.
didn't know. So when I heard that, immediately paying attention to content, which is kind of how I always look at stuff, is stay open because there's going to be something here. And that was a piece for me to help me over my own hurdle, which was really cool.
Interesting.
So the thing is that even on top of that, I got into a conversation that was already happening.
Right.
That's what made it easy, is that people are already talking about this decision that they wanted to make. And I just jumped in with out of service, not knowing.
Right.
So that was a very different space for me. And even to take a year to do is very different for me because I'm very action oriented. I get an idea, I run with it, and I throw a lot of money on it. And it doesn't always succeed, which I've done in the past. And, we talked about that in another video. And so basically, fast forwarding is that 6-week course, which was 5 weeks of content. They signed up. Different things happened. We got testimonials. I told them that they would be part of the program that I was going to launch the following year, which is 2013. And I was scared scared shitless, whatever, bleep. And because that means now I was accountable because I said they were going to get a spot. They paid and they were going to get a spot. And so time went by, and I had someone that worked with me as a curriculum director that really believed in what I was doing, who was a graduate of the program, understood it. And then we created another opt-in. I went to another mastermind. It was about different communities that I was with people who think differently than me, and yet creatively, right? So it was via collaboration's a little bit of the theme here. And so basically I had this download, if you will. Okay, well, I'm going to do an opt-in. I'm going to give a gift. I'm going to do an interview as a gift, a new interview talking about the Art of Becoming a Coach training program, create a checklist, and I had an opt-in page. And it wasn't even I didn't even have a website made. So in the beginning of 2013, I did a launch to just get the coaching toolkit out there. And I knew that I wanted to do a 3-level launch, meaning I wanted to have an early bird rate. I wanted to do the next rate, which would be a pre-enrollment, and then the full price. And I looked at my bonuses. I looked at what they needed. I really worked clearly about what the message was, who they were. And on my opt-in page, theartofbecomingacoach.com, there's a survey. So I could learn more and get help with my copy, with communicating with them in the right voice, really knowing what they needed. Yeah. And so that really blew up. It really went well. And I guess I did some outreach, and basically that list went from very little to, it was under 1,000. I mean, it wasn't a big list, but I went from 0 to under 1,000 in less than 2 weeks. Very focused, targeted to people who wanted to coach. So it was really cool, and the different things that were happening were really amazing. And I just really trusted myself and utilizing what I've learned from you in Fearless Launching, and just really knowing that things can always be better, not to get caught up in really having to make everything perfect, that I have to get out there, I have to do it, and go and just really have a support team, which is what was great going through Fearless Launching, again, is having a group of people there, because as I was going through it and as I was using, my levels of where I wanted to go and how I wanted to do the enrollment, I kept going beyond what my goals were, if you will, and really people were excited. Yeah. So it was months. I mean, it was a few months, that launch, to build the list. And then, there were a lot of ideas that I did, and I did interviews with coaches who weren't certified, and I got to use all my creativity, and I had a long checklist, which was my launch list. Facebook was huge for me, and doing the Facebook offer, the ads were flat. The Facebook offer and talking about a coaching toolkit and making that, and I obviously spent the money on it, it just really worked. And I was kind of amazed. Friday afternoon, late afternoon, and it was around 5 o'clock, early evening, I decided I'm going to post this picture because I had pictures of checklists. It was on my desk and I love photography. I took the picture, I posted it. It was very much like, hey, this is what's going on in my life. I'm all about passionate promotion and including people with what I'm doing, just like you do with your launching and sharing your experience. And then I said, oh, this is what's up. These are my checklists. And it was all the assessment and all the different things. And then I put it in parentheses, or whatever you call those guys. Uh, if you want a checklist, leave a message. Boom. Who knew? Like, all these people are like, yeah, I need a message. I need a message. It was too late to get my team to do it, because it was at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. I'm like personally messaging people with a link, and then it keeps going and going. And I don't know how many people from that really converted. It's just that there was excitement. People
it was definitely more of like a community building, regardless.
It was really cool, but it also did bring a lot of people to the list and people who were interested, and it was really great. This wasn't something I necessarily learned in a book. It was a place where it was something that I saw. It was something that I had a very strong hit. And with the support of being in Fearless Launching, I was able to say, this is what I'm doing. And then everyone was supportive of like, oh, that's really cool. That's what you did and what came out of it. They helped me to really look at the numbers and look at how it was helping, which built my confidence to keep going. And that was something that we forget when we're in the place of launching, that we need that. And you can spend thousands of dollars to get a project manager to do it, or you can be involved in a program that has a community that's very diverse and on all different levels in their business. And your support, of course, at the helm, I mean, is just so necessary, because it's like, oh, this thing didn't go. Someone would be like, well, why don't you tweak this or do that, or oh, keep going, just go take a walk, or whatever it was. It was so I could let go of control and know that I have support. I have a space where I can vent or I can celebrate. You know what I mean? And that is, I believe, is probably one of the most important things to have when you're under pressure and doing something that's making you stretch financially on a business level. I mean, even if you've launched, for me, I've launched many times, many things in many careers. I've done stuff. This has been my most successful. And I will say having that additional support was definitely there to keep me going. And I believe that in that way of investing my time and energy made a big difference. Not to be cliche of investing in myself, but I will say is I believed enough in it, and I wanted to have people around that could believe in me when I didn't.
Yeah, and I think that with a community like that, and I want to just focus on you today, but like with a community like that too, that is focused not on your business, which feels kind of general and big and nebulous, and there's so many different things you can do, but to really focus on that process of launching and like what's happening with this thing that you just did. How is that working? Or how does this copy read, or whatever the case is. And I remember, it's nice to go in and have like a little bit of a cheerleading squad.
Yeah.
Or someone to question it, and then you'd be like, oh yeah, that's right, I forgot this, that, and the other. Oh yeah.
Say you're overthinking it, sleep on it, read it in the morning. I mean, that's for me is sleep on it, read it in the morning, and really trusting my process.
Yeah.
I mean, for me to have over 60 people in the program was huge. My big, I would vomit with joy. Goal was 100. Everyone's like, I want 100 people in my program. And then I was really cool with 50. And then when it was over 60, it was great. And I will say there are people in there that were my clients that I gave as a bonus. I'll be really honest. And there were different people who were working with me on my team who wanted to be part of the program as a part of their pay. Not a full pay, but part of it.
Yeah.
And I will say there's some people who are very anti the barter thing. I believe being part of a team and being able to invest in them and give it to them, and being a smart business owner. I've thrown so much money at a launch that basically I had to work my butt off just to pay back my investment. I've learned that and the hard way. And so this really allowed me to really get the numbers, and I did make my goal of 50, which was written in Asana. My project manager was, I'm really, really grateful for 50 people in the art of becoming a coach, and they're so incredible. And it's right there, and I see it all the time, and I just go, okay, I said it very clearly, and I was very focused, and I always sent an email out that really felt genuine to me. And I've taken those little headline, little quickie things, and all these little things that are like the quick, short thing to that, and that stuff always throws a wrench in it for me. I have to just speak the way I speak, communicate in the way I do, whether I put pictures in, which was a big thing in my emails, is that as people would sign up, they would say different things in the Facebook page and in the private Facebook page, and I would just cut and paste it. So they were, the whole launch, as people were enrolling, it was helping me, understanding that I'm sovereign to my business. I'm sovereign to that launch. That launch isn't, who I am. It's part of where my creative force is going. And then allowing it to be alive and grow and influence you, because there's going to be different feedback that comes. And I will say that now I feel I've grown to be able to have the size of a launch in my business, because I've grown as a person to be more open to feedback.
Yeah, I think that kind of encapsulates all of these different growth points for you, is that you've been able to take, what's there, what's supposed to be in a launch, and created it in a way that works for you, whether it's the copywriting, the emails, to how you do your affiliate program, to how you deliver the product itself, to how you do the initial opt-in or interest page. Like, all of it was through your filter. So I think that's kind of like the big message that I always like to give people. That's why I even had a hard time giving that bonus to your peeps, the roadmap, because I believe in a roadmap, but I also want you to be like, psh, 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 and tear it up a little bit. I do want you to go by your own, your own compass a little bit. And so I'm really excited to see that you've been able to do that. So tear it up, girl.
Tear it up. And it is really good, because the thing is there's always little nuggets, and it's always about, oh wow, this is really good, because sometimes it's not about big ahas. It's not those big things. It's not like all of a sudden, boom, the rock came out of the sky, and I figured it out.
That crystal again.
Rock came out of the sky. It's more of just that little thing, even when I was having a conversation with the coach I'm working with now, I was talking about it and I was just like, well, I'm not doing this for the money, because if I did, it would be 4 times. And I'm like, oh my God, that's really good. That's exactly what I mean, is I really want to bring value, and I could charge more, and I'm not. And I'm not trying to be sleazeball. I'm just here because I am online, and to me, if you have an online business, info marketing is a good word. It's not a negative word, and you just have to find your flavor of it. And that's the thing, is that, you find your flavor. I have to say, I'm kind of amazed, and even my husband is. He's like, wow, what you've done out of nothing is pretty incredible.
You're like, yeah, I know.
Well,
thank you.
It's just so different than, it's just such a different, bizarre world, and the world that we're in, if we're launching online or even launching brick and mortar, wherever you're doing with it, it doesn't matter. We're all here to serve, and the more that you can get out there and fail fast, it's like fail fast, adjust, and keep going, and ask questions, be curious. The more curiosity I have, the easier it is of like, hey, I want to know, where are you in the program? If you have people doing an online program, just get it out there. Even if you have 3 people sign up, give the 7 spots away and get people to work for you, for those spots. That's the secret to most of these programs and coaches and people who started out. There were more people for free than paid. Nobody talks about that. I mean, I talk about that with my coaches, is if you have 3 people who paid, I remember, Laura Roeder was like, if 1 person clicks and buys, that's a good thing. That means more people will. And I never forgot that. It's always something that kept me going. On, little Roeder gem there. It was always something that kept me going. And I just say, just keep doing it, and throw frustration to the side, because we're so fortunate to be able to play and not making it harder than it needs to be. Play. Right. Like, keep it light and play, because Otherwise, just go get a job and make it easier.
Seriously, because a job is way easier.
So much easier.
What the hell?
Get a job. It's so
Get a job. If you can't launch and just let it go and if you can't have fun, dude, seriously.
Well, yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, we can go on and on, but the
I
thing
know.
is, it's uncertainty. And the uncertainty of a launch is what makes us stay up at night. And that's the biggest fear that you're dealing with the program. And the key is find whatever you're certain about and what you can depend on, so at least you can allow that uncertainty to be there and just go, cool, you know what, whatever happens is going to be great and I'm going to get it. And listen, I know what those shitty, painful launches are like. I've been there. I've sold a program and had 2 people in it, and I did it anyway. Because to me, showing up and doing it anyway, just imagine those 2 people multiply. It happens. It does.